Welcome to the Cookbook, where we invite guests on to share the ingredients of what has helped make them the successes that they are. All of it, the good, the not so good. You're not going to find anything half-baked here. And our kitchen gets messy sometimes. That's when the fun starts. So come on and join us. Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Cookbook. I'm your host, Iris Goldfeder, and I'm super excited about our guest today, Carrie Anne. You've heard me talk about the dames like a million times, and she's a fellow dame, but she's a really awesome person. She's like a really cool, down-to-earth person, and I think she's super special, and by the time this thing is over, I'm sure you're going to think she's as special as I am. So I'm going to read her bio and bring her on. Carrie Anne Munstedt is an award-winning portrait photographer, speaker, and author. She is an artist and nurturer, fiercely motivated by using her talents to make women feel confident, empowered, and whole. Who doesn't need that? Growing up with an abusive role model, left her filled with fear. Didn't know that. She countered this by attempting to be perfect, but never took the time to understand who she was. Okay, y'all, get ready. This is going to be awesome. She continued down a path of perfection that led her to a marriage, a job, and other endeavors that weren't right for her. Carrie Anne started a journey to get to know herself in her 30s. On this spiritual quest, she connected back to the thing that brought her joy as a child, photography. She discovered an innate talent to capture a person's true inner beauty, the real person inside. Through her portrait business and as an inspirational speaker, Carrie Anne helps women see their beauty and increase their confidence both in photos and life so they can proudly stand out as the face of their business. Through her Facebook videos and Embrace the Shift video series, Carrie Anne has opened up about her own past obstacles and negative self-image. Her vulnerability and warmth helps to inspire others to overcome their individual challenges. So without further ado, let's meet Carrie Anne. Hey.
Hi, Iris. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. And I had no idea. I'm going to adjust my thingy here because I'm going the wrong way. I want to get our eyes. There we go. Okay. And then move this a little so that we're even. We spoke so much and I didn't even realize about the abusive. That did not come up.
We all have our backstories, right? And we all have stuff that happened in our past that informs our futures and our, who we are today. And so while, yes, I had a very abusive role model parent in my background, who I no longer have a relationship with, but right. I try not to, while there was a lot of really bad negative things that happened in that situation growing up, I try not to dwell on that. And instead, I use that to, inform me in my life now and to make different choices so that I don't pass those same tendencies on to my kiddos, right? We're stopping the cycle here. And also, like a lot of the things that I felt, a lot of the perfectionism that came up for me having to have the perfect body and be the perfect person so I wouldn't get in trouble. Like I've had to work through a lot of those things. And now I'm able to help others work through their own perfectionism as well. So honestly, while it's, a lot of crap that's happened in the past, as long as we use it for good in the future, like I'm what happened and I'm okay with it at this point.
No, I hear you. I mean, same thing. Right. Abusive background. I mean, it is what it is. And I think that, that molds us into who we become. Right. That's exactly. All part of the journey. So
I mean, we have a choice, right? It can mold us either way, right? It can mold us into continuing that on and passing that on. And it can mold us into making a change and saying, this is the end of that. And I'm going to make a change for the future of my family, for the future of humanity, honestly. So, we all have a choice to make. And I chose the one way that I'm super grateful that I was able to choose that path.
Well, I love that. I think that's awesome. So congratulations. I mean, that's, you're right. Some people use their experience and knowledge for good and some, not so much. So,
as we see so much in life these days, absolutely.
No shit, but we're not going to, we're
not going to go there. It's okay.
Not yet. We'll see about later, but you look amazing. I love your freaking hair. I remember when you first got it done, but it's like it's so you. It's just so, I love it.
Thank you.
I love the Team USA shirt.
Yeah, representing the USA right now.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It's been so fun watching the Olympics, and I know we're going to talk about that a little bit more later, but it's just been a really fun time these past couple weeks.
The one thing that was triggering for me, though, and it was like so funny because my wife was like, seriously, they do that every year. But when they did the USA, it like seriously made me go, why are you doing that? And then I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. So
it's a little bit of a different context when it's the Olympics versus maybe some other things that are going on in the USA at this time in our political landscape, right? Yeah, I can see how that would be a little bit triggering.
100%.
And while I'm here representing Team USA, honestly, like I am just like every single person who wins, like I'm like get teary-eyed for them, right? Like of course I want to rep the USA and have the people from the USA win these things, but I honestly don't care who wins. Like I am just so happy for all these people who work so dang hard and then to get medals. I don't care where they're from. So
the amount of work that they put into this, I mean, their heart, it's like,
incredible.
And we talked about this, like, I think my favorite moment out of the whole thing was when, and I can't remember her name and I don't want to bastardize it, but the woman from Brazil, the gymnast that won, and Simone and Suni were like bowing to her,
down to her. It was so beautiful and amazing, and what a beautiful display of women supporting women at that moment, and not being upset because you got a silver or a bronze. It's amazing what we're seeing and what we're witnessing out there.
I think that we are so fortunate to be in the time that we're in now, to be able to see this but I think Olympics in general are very, I feel that they're always supportive. Like I don't remember seeing an Olympic that people weren't supporting each other.
And I agree with that. But I think what we're seeing is I read a stat recently, and I'm not sure if this was just for U.S. Olympians or for the Olympics in general, but we're at about 50-50 now, 50% men, 50% women.
As far as participants.
And we've never been at that high, at that exact equal spot before. So I don't think that, I think that women have always supported women, but we're just seeing it more because there are more women there to watch doing this. So that's probably it.
Yeah. And I think it's amazing. I mean, I think the whole thing, because it was funny. My wife was like, are we going to watch the Olympics? And it was like, well, basketball, Team USA, because I'm Team Caitlin. I live in Indiana. So the Fever is, our team. And, we're lucky to have her. We've gone to a game, which was like amazing. And we won, which was even more amazing. But, tuning in to watch women's basketball that I was never into before this year, right? So that just added like a whole nother thing. And I think the more that women support women, the more women will support women.
Yes, exactly. The more that we see it, right? This was with anything, right? The more that we see women supporting women, the more that we'll be like, oh, I should go support, or not I should, but like I want to go support more women. It's the same, we were talking about this earlier today too, before we got on, but it's the same with like the women of all different body sizes and heights and weights and all the things competing at this Olympic level, right? Like, I know this is what totally lights me up and why I'm wearing my Team USA shirt right now too, is because, I'm all about like, body image and celebrating bodies and stuff like that. And so to see all these women being celebrated for having bodies at all different sizes and weights and heights and it all being so darn beautiful that like, it's another thing that when we see this, then when we see people in our real lives who have different bodies, we're so less critical of them. We're so less critical of ourselves, right?
Yes.
And not even less critical, but just more accepting of everyone's bodies, of ourselves, of our own bodies as well. So it's definitely something that's just really got me fired up a lot right now.
Yeah, you can tell you're very.
I know. I really get into it.
But I love it because it's been like this really exciting. For me, it's just been this exciting because I think the last time I used to really get into the Olympics, it was like a really long time ago, like years and years and years ago. And then I started watching it, I think like 2 years ago well, no, 4 years ago, because of women's soccer, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And watching Megan Rapinoe and Ashlyn Harris,
Absolutely.
all those guys. And it was like,
Absolutely.
oh my God, oh my God, this whole thing. And then they took their win and they uplifted women again because they took that win. And then they said, okay, guess what? We're not getting paid enough.
Yeah, exactly. We want equal pay now. Look what we're doing.
Than the guys are.
Yep. Absolutely.
And they got something done. And so the beautiful thing that I love about all of this is that when women lift up women, we get shit done.
100%.
And we get shit done for 100%. Women, right? It's just, 100%. So that's what got me started on the Olympic thing. And then, like I said, the basketball thing. But then Simone Biles for me was a really huge thing because I was watching 4 years ago and she was like, I can't, and when she had her vertigo or, whatever.
Yeah, when she was experiencing some mental health issues that made 100%. Her pull out, right? Yeah.
But she was able to do that and put her mental health ahead of the other stuff. And then that also shone a light on how important mental health is. So I feel like
she got so much slack for that. I mean, people made fun of her left and right for that and said she was such a loser for doing stuff like that. And I'm just so proud of her for still, with all the negativity out there, for still doing what was best for her. And you're right, it showed little girls that they could do that. It showed her other teammates that they could put their mental health first. It showed just regular everyday people that they could put their own mental health first too. And look what happens when you put your mental health first. You come back stronger than ever too.
7 golds and 1 silver. I mean, oh my God. And it was funny because we were watching and when she got the silver, again, how supportive she was, right? But it was like, she got 7 golds. I mean, my God, she came back from this, this adversity that she took and made into a superpower. I mean, the whole thing was just like unbelievable. So I was definitely going to watch that, this year for that. And then I found myself watching men swimming and then women swimming, Goladecki. And then like all of this stuff, right, was just like, holy shit, like these women were just like dominating everything. And in the relay, the women, like I'm watching relays. I never did this before in my life, right? And it's just so amazing. But you're right. The relay was 50-50. It was 2 guys, 2 girls.
Yeah.
That never was it before. So
exactly. I know. It's inspiring. It's just inspiring all around. Right. And you're seeing that you're getting inspired by one person, which is leading you to watch something else and getting inspired there and continue on. Right. So it's really beautiful how, you can just see it in your own life, how everyone's been so inspiring.
Yeah. It's amazing. And, I look at, all of these, women-owned businesses, right? All of these women business owners that we know, and they're inspiring, because they're lifting 100%. People up. And that's what I love about our group. There's like no nasty, nastiness. It's all, how do we, what can we do to help? How do we uplift you?
How can we support one another? 100%.
It's amazing. It's just amazing.
100%. Yeah. We're very blessed to be in a group like that really, that's the premise of the entire group, is lifting and supporting one another, just like we're seeing these women do in the Olympics as well.
Yeah. 100%. Okay. So tell us about Carrie Anne.
Okay. That's such a really big question.
I mean,
Well, you heard a little bit about the backstory, and I did go into that a little bit. Let's see here. So I am a portrait photographer, and so I spent 17 years in corporate America. I was an assistant dean at a local university, and it was a really good job. And but probably about 13, 14 years into that, I felt like I wasn't being fulfilled in my soul anymore, right? I knew that I was doing good work at the university, but I didn't feel like I was doing good work for the world. Like I didn't feel like I was giving anything back in any meaningful way to the world. And I just kind of what is it that I want to do with my life? What is it that I really want to do? And I had no idea because I had just been entrenched in corporate America for so darn long. And so I did. I picked up my camera again and I, started taking pictures of landscapes. And I remember being at a meeting one time where they were showing all these pictures of landscapes on the wall. And somebody put a little teeny tiny picture of a person in their landscape. And I just remember like narrowing in on that little teeny tiny person. But it was like, I felt that the person brought the life to that photo, even though you couldn't make out any details in them whatsoever. And I was like, I really want to look more into portrait photography. So I went down that road and I started photographing families at parks and babies and all the things. And it just wasn't really the right path for me. And I started building my website and my social media. And I honestly looked around, Iris, and I was like, I don't have any pictures of myself to put on my website and to put on my social media because as a woman who, I was curvier than I am right now and a very curvy woman for most of my adult life, right? I shied away from the camera. I did not want to be in pictures. I was always in ball caps and like big baggy shirts and jeans. And like, I didn't like how I looked. And so I wasn't in any pictures. But I knew that I needed pictures for my website, for social media, right? As the face of our brand, that's what we have to do. We were talking about pictures for you, right? Like what we've got to do. And so I went out and I hired a woman from LA who specialized in photographing women. And I went into that photo shoot. I hired her to take pictures of me, obviously for my brand. And I went into that photo shoot just so nervous, so scared, like, why am I doing this? I'm too fat. I don't have nice enough clothes. Like, why am I investing all this stuff in myself, right? And even through all that, I was able to tune those negative voices out and go to that photo shoot. And we honestly had the best time. And that photographer just made me feel like the most beautiful woman in the entire world. And I didn't really care about what my outside looked in those moments, right? And when I saw those final pictures of myself, right? It's a picture that I'm holding up right here, right? I didn't see like my outer appearance. I saw who I was in my soul, like looking back at me. I saw the future of who I was becoming looking back at me. And I knew in that moment that that's what I wanted to share with all women in this world. And so very swiftly, I started building my portrait business on the side, and I did that for a couple of years until it was finally time to quit my corporate job after 17 years of being there and go full time with my portrait business. And that was back in January of 2018. Wow. So now I've been doing this for, 6.5 years full time. And it's been an amazing journey, but that's how it kind of started to where I launched everything.
That's incredible. And I love how, you got to see yourself through somebody else's eyes, because it's so easy for us. Like when I had my photo shoot done last year, it was in Charleston. And because Kim Russo was doing my website, and I go down there and she's like, okay, we're going to do a photo shoot, and because the website has to be you. And my website used to be very, corporate looking, generic, right? Nothing, like maybe one little picture of me in that whole
exactly. But not much,
yeah, the website needs to be you. And I was like, no, it doesn't. You don't, because, I always hated my profile. I have a little bit of an overbite. I have like the little, Ashkenazi, little Jewish nose
all
there.
All the things, right?
All the things. So I was like, no. So the picture that she chooses for, my hero image is me sideways. And I hated that.
That's your profile. Oh boy.
So, and it was so funny because, and I'm going to be doing keynote speaking on this exact thing. I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, no. Right. I was like, no. Like, oh God, that's me. And then I kept looking at it every day. And then 2 weeks later, my wife was in the living room and I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, that's me. So I'm like, babe, come in. And she's like, wow, and I'm like, look at this. And she's like, it's your website. I'm like, but that's me. I did that. Yeah. I made this business. Like this is, and it was a whole different point of view, right? And I realized it was like, what was stopping me or what were the parts about myself that I didn't like, that I didn't want on there. And when I looked at it through a different lens, it made all the difference. And then it was like, oh, okay, that's a pretty good picture. And it was like, all right, oh yeah, there's the real me. I'm coming through in this. And then it just changed everything.
Amazing how it happens, right? Like I hear that time and time again, and I have the same thing happen with me in my own photos, right? This is called, have you heard about this thing where if you have negative body image, right? Like therapists will tell you to go stand in front of a mirror naked and just look at yourself and maybe, start saying some positive things about yourself. And of course, it's hard at first, right? Because you're looking at yourself and you're seeing all your flaws, right? Your perceived flaws, not that you actually have any flaws, but all the things that we don't like about ourselves, right? So I would go to my big belly, or I would go to a double chin. Those are the things about me that I have the hardest time with. But after a while of looking at ourselves in the mirror, we start saying nicer things to those parts of our bodies, right? Until we're finally able to stand in front of that mirror and just love on, or at least accept those parts of ourselves. Hopefully we get to a place of love, but at least we get to a place of neutrality or acceptance rather than like hating on those areas. But what you're experiencing is the same thing, but instead of mirror gazing, it's photo gazing, right? So what happened is somebody else saw a side of you, a literal side of you, and was able to use that picture because she didn't see the same things that you were seeing. But you kept seeing that picture repeatedly over and over on your website, right? And at first you didn't like it and you were like, hell no, I'm not using that picture, right? But over time, you just kept seeing it and kept seeing it until you got to a point where you like it. And that's you, right? It's just so representative of you. So it's the exact same thing that's happened, right? You've just kept seeing it to where you're okay with it. And now those profile images, you're like, oh, wait, that's me. And that's cool. Like we're using it. Exactly. You don't care about it anymore. So, yeah. It's a beautiful thing that you've experienced as well. I do the same thing with myself.
And the funny part was I said, use a different picture, take that down. And she went, no. I'm like, what do you mean no?
Yay, good job, right? Kim, on standing up for that.
Yes. And
we have to push our clients sometimes to see these different sides of themselves 100%. As well. So
and she was like, no, you need to, she goes, it's you looking reflective and looking like you're, contemplating. Yeah. And I went, take it down. And so we not fought, but, we discussed it back and forth for a week, and then I let it go for a week. Right. And then the following week I saw it and I was like, oh, I get it. It makes sense.
Those things. You stop seeing the physical things and you actually start seeing the meaning behind the picture, the greater part of the picture rather than those little things, right?
And I remember what I was thinking when they took the picture. Because it was in a coffee shop in Charleston, and I didn't know she was taking a picture. I was just looking out the window, kind of going,
You were contemplating and thinking about the future.
100%. I was sitting here going, oh my God, I'm in Charleston getting a photo shoot for my website for this business that I'm building that's, taking off. And
that's cool.
It was really cool. So when I look at that picture now, that's what I
you remember the feeling of it. Exactly. Right. And that's what I always want to bring to my photo sessions as well when I'm photographing clients, because so many women especially have had really negative feelings around photo sessions, right? They haven't liked their photos, but it's also because they didn't really like their photo shoot, right? So you actually had a good experience, and you have positive feelings around that photo shoot. So when you see that picture, it also evokes those positive feelings, right? So that's what I try to do in my photo shoots as well, is create a really fun environment for people where we're laughing a lot and just, I'm giving a lot of positive affirmations so that when we see our pictures, not only are we seeing our picture, but we're remembering the feelings that we had when we were having those pictures taken as well. Yeah. So it really all goes hand in hand for the final product of the photo, because it's the feelings from before, and when we're actually seeing the photo. So I totally get it. I totally understand. I'm glad you've had that experience.
Yeah, me too. It was very cool. It was very, very affirming, and very empowering.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that, it was just one of those. Yeah. All right, I am a badass. Okay, I'll own it.
You are, exactly. I'll own it. Own it.
100%. So we know what made you decide to become an entrepreneur. Do you miss corporate at all?
gosh, no, no way. And for, a few reasons. I mean, okay. As an entrepreneur, right? It's not like a straight up arrow from the day you become an entrepreneur, right? There are lots of ups and lots of downs along the way. And, I mean, sometimes I'm not going to lie, I miss like the security and the getting the paycheck every 2 weeks and the good benefits, because we had good benefits. I miss I sometimes miss being able to just like shut off at 5 o'clock and not take my work home over the weekend, those things. Cause as an entrepreneur, like you never shut it off. Like my brain is thinking about my business literally. I mean, I can't say 24/7 because hopefully it's not too bad when I'm sleeping, but the rest of the time I'm thinking about my business in some way. Okay. So those things, yes.
Sometimes I dream about it.
Sometimes I think, okay, well, what if I had to shut down my business or something and I had to go get a job? I'm like, no way. Like, no, I do not want to ever have to do that again. Right. Because like we have created a very specific life for my family. Right. So one of the other things that is a reason I am not ever upset about leaving corporate is that, so I left my corporate job in January of 2018. In April 2018, at the age of 40, right? So I didn't start my business also until I was 40 years old, but also at the age of 40, 3 months after quitting that corporate job that I had been at for 17 years, I found out that I was pregnant for the first time. So we have to look at this. Like I had been married, so I'm on my second marriage. So I had been married before. So pretty much over, a period of about 15 years between two husbands, I had been trying periodically, over that entire time to get pregnant, and I was never able to. And I just thought that I was just never gonna. I just thought that it wasn't in the cards for me, right? Like there was something in my system that wasn't gonna let it. But 3 months after I quit that corporate job, I found out that I was pregnant for the first time. And there was literally nothing at all that changed except for the stress level that I must have had in that job. Yeah. And I didn't even know that I had that stress level because I had been in it for so long. And, you just build it up over 17 years. And I guess it's just, it's just part of who I was. But then when I was able to let that go, I got pregnant. And so by the end of 2018, I had birthed a baby and a full-time business, full-time 6-figure business, all in the same year. So it was a pretty incredible 2018 year for me. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. But so, we've also, my husband, he's a stay-at-home dad. So he works for me in my business while my son is at school. He's in first grade now. And he's our primary child care provider.
Your kid is so cute. Your kid is so cute.
He's so cute. I know. But so this is the life that we have created, right? Like my son and my husband, they go away to South Dakota for the summer because we're able to do that with them. So my son gets out of Arizona and he has an outdoor summer, right? Like we've just created this really amazing lifestyle that works for our family. And we would never be able to do that if one of us was in corporate or both of us were in corporate. So for those reasons, I am so glad that I'm not there anymore and I would never go back. Hopefully would never have to go back.
It's so funny because I think most of the entrepreneurs that I speak to, we have decided that we are unemployable.
Absolutely.
Just couldn't work, because, for you, it's your son and your lifestyle. For me, it's, just being able to do what I want when I want, but also, I had a lot of dick bosses. I mean, I just did. It was what it was. And so, they hire you for your expertise and then they're telling you what to do. And I was like, no. So
absolutely. Oh, I can't even imagine. Like, I am the boss at this point, and I cannot even imagine having someone else tell me what to do at this point.
Oh my God. Like, and so I have a team, right? And if they make suggestions, a suggestion is a suggestion, right? And it's funny because I look at it and to me, I've been put in this. Can you hear that? That's Piper. No. Oh, okay. That's amazing because I hear they're like so loud to me. But to me, it's like when I think of the role that I'm in now, I have a team. And I lead the team, right? But today is Kim, who is my social media manager. It's her birthday. And I did a post on LinkedIn celebrating her birthday. And everybody was like, oh my God, that's amazing that you celebrate your team. And I'm like, why the hell wouldn't I? They're like, amazing. And she challenges me. And I love it. Like we'll be talking about something and she'll say, well, how about if you look at it this point of view? And it's like, I love that. And what I love even more is that she's comfortable enough to do that. Because how many times, does somebody's boss, say something and then you challenge your boss, right? And
well, it's the culture that you've created within your business and within yourself to be able to have her feel like she's going to be in a safe space for her to be able to do that, right? And she's not going to get yelled at or belittled or, whatever it is, right? So that culture starts at the top, right? And and as the leader of your business, I feel the same way in my business too, right? We have to empower the people who we're leading in that way. And honestly, we're so much better with them too, because, we're so we can only go so far in our limited, reality of what we know in this world. Right. So when we've got other people giving us other ideas, like just happened yesterday for me and my team, and they're like, okay, well, we thought we were going to go this route, but we think we should go this route. And I just kind of had to think about it for a second. I'm like, you guys are so smart. And I'm glad you guys put your heads together to come up with this because that makes so much more sense. Let's go that route. Right. So I totally get it. But we have to change. We have to implement that at the top down culture. Right. Right.
To let them know that. And I always say that because I think the first time that she said something to me, we were on a Zoom call because she's in Pennsylvania, and we were on a Zoom call and she went like right after she said it. And I said, what? She goes, I'm sorry if that was, if I stepped on a line. I went, no. Right. I'm like, no, this is, tell me, because I don't know everything. And so they were joking around, I said, honestly, I'm learning every day. The day that I stop learning is the day that I stop breathing. So if you have an idea, bring it. Please don't be afraid. So, so now they're just like, they're like, hey, what about this? I'm like, absolutely. Let's just do it. Or I'll be like, what if we tried that this way? So it's teamwork, right? So
great idea. And let's look at it from another point of view, right? But it's not like saying you suck, that's a terrible idea, right?
God,
it's like just reframing it a little bit, right? And exactly. But thinking of going back into a corporate setting where things were like that is just no, thank you.
It was like very, I'm your boss. You're talking back to me. It's like,
right.
Okay, you're not God. Goodbye.
Right, I totally get it.
A lot of people listening to this are thinking about becoming entrepreneurs. So what advice would you have for somebody who's thinking about becoming an entrepreneur?
I mean, gosh, I say just do it, right? Like if it's what lights you up and really excites you, try it. What's going to happen, right? I mean, you learn or you succeed, right? I mean, you're not going to fail at anything. When I decided that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, it's not like I had this entrepreneurial, bug in me for many, many years, right? I never even thought that I would be an entrepreneur. It never even crossed my mind until finally, at some point, I was just like, I have to break free from corporate, and I don't want to do corporate anymore. And I really like this route and I'm pretty good at it. And so let's just give it a try. And it's not like we had some big financial cushion to fall back on. It was like, my husband and I sat down, we're like, let's give this like 3 months and see how it goes, right? Like we can weather any storm for 3 months. And if it's really bad, one or both of us will go back and get more jobs. But, we put everything that we had into it and we just gave it our all. And for us, like it worked out, right? And we're here 6.5 years later. And again, like I've said, I mean, it's not like an easy journey. There's lots of ups, there's lots of amazingly high highs, and there's a lot of really low lows that go along with it. So I would say keep your eyes wide open. When I started my business, I was a lot more naive. And I was pretty much under the impression that, like, if you build it, they will come, right? If I say that I'm going to be a full-time photographer, everyone is going to come out and be like, hey, I want to be photographed by you. And that is not what happened. Not in the slightest. I got really, really lucky in my first month because of a connection that I previously had. So we had a really great first month. And then after that, I was like, oh, I actually have to like go out and meet people and get leads, and I have to get people in here. It's very naive. So I would just say go at it with a very, do it, and do it with your eyes wide open and knowing that it's not going to be a straight up arrow success, right? And there's going to be ups and downs, and you're going to have to work hard at it and keep up at it. And it's going to be a constant thing, but it's also, like the most rewarding thing that you're ever going to do in your life too. So, it's both. It's hard and it's beautiful all at the same time. It's a total and.
Yeah, 100%. And I always say that if you ever want to really get to know yourself, become an entrepreneur, because, oh boy.
Oh man. You just have to challenge, everything that you know about yourself. I am a completely different person today than I was 6.5 years ago when I finished my corporate job, right? Like, I was in that corporate mindset, and I was a lot more negative, and I was more cold, and I wasn't fully authentic because I kept a lot of myself hidden, because you're always afraid of like saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing and getting fired and all these things, right? So I was very, very different person, and I have completely transformed my entire life over these past 6 years. I am warm and friendly and outgoing, and I try to be as authentic as I can possibly be at this point, right? And I share my story so much so that other people can see what I'm doing and be inspired by what I'm doing. So yeah, I have completely lost my train of thought for one thing, but I have transformed my life as well, and it's really been a beautiful journey to be on as well.
Right. I love that you said that. So,
and I'm not going to lie. I'm like, this sounds really good, but where am I going with this exactly?
No, well, you're going with, because it does change you. I remember, so I started this 10 years ago. And when I first started, I was not in a good spot. I got fired, and it was like, do I collect unemployment or do I do something else? And so I did something else. And it was this with one of my clients I worked for a telecom company. And let's just say we didn't see eye to eye, and I wasn't shy about it. And so I got fired, which was fine, whatever. And then I called my clients to let them know, hey, I'm not with them anymore. And then one of them said they're stupid. And I went, well, I agree. And then he said, well, why don't we start a business together? And I was like, I don't know, let's talk about it. So we talked about it, weighed the pros and cons. He was up in Chicago, I was down here, and I kept everything in my name just because, thank God I did that, because I was in Indiana, the taxes were, it was less. And so it just made more sense. Yeah. Fast forward, 5 years later, he became very apathetic. And so, like I said, thank God everything was in my name. Then I entered into another partnership that didn't work out, which was the universe just telling me, you are not supposed to work with partners.
You can do this on your own.
Exactly. And so when that ended, I was not in a good space. I also was coming off of, because that was 2022. So 2021, I got COVID. And I got diagnosed with, it's called a bilateral iliac arterial dissection. So basically, I almost died, but they didn't tell me that I almost died because they didn't want to freak me out. I was in the hospital and I knew it wasn't good, but I didn't know how bad it was. And then a year later, and it was like 2 weeks after I ended the other partnership, or the partnership ended, my doctor was like, so you're going to live? And I went, what do you mean? He goes, well, we didn't want to tell you because we didn't want to freak you out, but this could have killed you. And I was like,
so like, what a wake up call, right? To be like, okay, I'm out of this partnership and I'm going to live. So let's do something a little bit different, right?
Let's do it, right? Yeah. So called Kofi up, said, let's do the podcast. The next week we worked on this, got the podcast going, got the business going again. And I had signed a non-compete. that I couldn't do certain things in 2 different states. And what that did, though, was, I was almost like, thank you, because what that did was help me find other strengths that I had that I didn't know that I had. So this has been the most amazing journey the last 3 years. And then 2 years ago, I joined the Dames. So that same year. So in 2022, I joined the Dames that May. And the first year, I think I 1.5 times my business. And last year, I tripled my business.
Woo, nice job.
And it was all from surrounding myself with supportive women, right? Surrounding myself with women who were doing better than I was and showing me where I wanted to go.
Exactly.
So, girl, it has been like unbelievable. And when you say that it changes you, it does, because you get to be you, and you get to be comfortable, and we are warm, and we are supportive, and we do care, and we can be empathetic, and we're not weak. And sorry, I know I went off on a tangent, but I just think it's so...
No, it's okay. I mean, it does change you, and it does allow you to become more of who you really, truly, authentically are, right?
Yes.
I mean, because you have to be. How can you be like inauthentic in this world when like you're the face of your business, and it's impossible to like hold that back. So it really does challenge you to learn who you are, and to reach deep and figure out this stuff, and figure out where your strengths are, and all these things. And figure out where your weaknesses are also, and then not be held back by your weaknesses, but to find then team members who will help prop you up, or to ask for help in those areas, right? Yeah. So it challenges you to go really, really, really deep on this entrepreneurial journey. But again, it's the most beautiful thing, and then we can live our like truly, fully authentic lives as well as a part of this. So I'm totally with you.
I mean, and my clients know. Like, they know without a doubt, like, how much I care about them, how much I care about their businesses. For me, it's never transactional. And they know that. Like, they know that it's not, of course I need to make money. Duh. That's, but.
Of course. But it's deeper than that, right? Like,
so much deeper. Like,
it's so much deeper than that.
Right. Like every one of my clients, I could tell you their kids' names. I could tell you what, like what they love to do as a hobby. I could tell you, all of it. And to me, it's like they're part of a family. Like when you start
I say to all my clients too, like, exactly. Once they become your clients, once they become my clients, they're my friends. Right. Like, and that's just how it is in my business too.
Yeah. And it's beautiful that we get to do that. So, but I know I went down the, well, I mean, it's what I love talking about you is like, I feel like our journeys were kind of similar, but I feel like our mindset is like the same. And it's so exciting to get to get excited. It's like you get excited and then I get excited, and it's like everybody gets excited. And I'm sure listening to this now, everyone's like, yeah,
it's like feeding off it. But it's like what you were talking about when you were watching the Olympics earlier, right? Like you watch someone and you see how amazing they are, and it gets you really excited, and then it gets your wife excited to watch it, and then we're talking and I get more excited about it. Like that excitement is so beautiful to like pass on, because it really does. It just continues down the chain, and it's I don't know. I'm now going off on a tangent. I just keep going on and on, but it does really feel good, and it's nice to be a part of. We are similar to that.
Joyful Positive podcast. I mean, and it's so funny because 2 weeks ago, and we talked about this earlier, it aired 2 weeks ago. We recorded this like, I don't know, over a month ago, but one of the people one of the companies that I ended up interviewing was Woke American Apparel, who's now a client. And we just went down, the rabbit hole of things. And it was so funny because as we're talking about it, I'm going, shit, like, watch too much. But then I was like, you know what? My podcast, I can, talk about what I want. If people don't know which way I personally lean by this point, then they don't know me, because I have a wife, so we know which way I don't lean.
I mean, that's, it's not completely 100% at that point, but it's pretty obvious at that point.
It's pretty damn close right now. So, but but that's like the other thing. It's like, I feel so rejuvenated. So one of the things that we talked about, the reason they started their business was because he's a veteran and he felt that, the red, white, and blue didn't represent what it used to. So, and for me, it was very personal because I love my country. I love my flag, but I haven't waved my flag in like 8 years because I don't want to be associated with certain things. Right. So, absolutely. I keep saying I'm going out and buying a flag. I'm just going to order it from Amazon because I'm hanging the flag on my flag thingy on my garage because I feel excited. I feel proud. I feel like all these things. And watching the Olympics, when I watched it last time, it was a little depressing. I'm going to be honest. Like, looking at the American flag and like watching these people working so hard, but knowing what that flag represented to the rest of the world at that point. So
absolutely, now, there's a new energy out there in our political sphere at the moment, right? And it feels a lot different, and it feels like you can maybe be proud of that flag again, right?
Yes,
absolutely,
100%.
Yeah.
So I said to my wife, I said, "Are you okay?" Because and she was like, "Hell, wave it," So I'm doing that, and actually, when this thing is over and we're done, I'm going on Amazon and ordering because I keep saying I'm going to go out and buying it and I never have time. So
I can get everything on Amazon.
My house, I'll just put it on.
But, just get it on Amazon.
Exactly. Right. And it's like, there are just so many things that are exciting and positive. There's like this, I think there's this like positive energy that is like affecting so many people. And I see it when I walk outside, and I see it when I'm on a Zoom call with somebody, or if I'm, doing an interview, or if I'm just talking to
the energy. Yeah,
oh my God,
absolutely.
It's like amazing. It's like the best thing ever. Anyway. Okay. So
I agree.
So, get back on track. Usually Kofi like text me and be like, squirrel, but he hasn't. I'm impressed. So what is an obstacle that you've overcome in your business or that you're currently going through that other like seasoned entrepreneurs might be feeling or going through or have gone through?
Oh man, there are always obstacles that come up, right? I guess just the biggest obstacle right now is that, I am honest in things, and I am not having like the best year that I have had, right? Like I'm like halfway through my 6th year right now. And by this time I thought that I would just be continually like, up and up and up. And it has not gone that way for the past couple of years. It's not like I'm doing bad. It's just that I'm not doing as good as I had been when it comes and when I say good and bad, I mean, there's obviously more to measure than the revenue that we bring in. But when it comes to that, my revenue has not been as high this year as it had in past years. And that's, it's definitely a big obstacle that all entrepreneurs face, within the lifetime of their businesses. And, it can get you really down very easily, right? When people aren't saying yes to me as much as they used to, it feels like it's a rejection. When they're not, opening up their wallets to me as much as they used to, it feels like a rejection. But we just have to remember that, like, also life comes in cycles, right? And I'm a photographer, and it's not, it's not a thing that people have to have, right? Like we have to have food, and we have to have roofs over our heads and those types of things, right? Like it's not a must have. But it's just, it's really digging deep and having the mindset in place to be able to weather these storms and know that it is while it sucks and it feels like it's taking forever right now, in the grand scheme of things, it's going to be a very short time while we're experiencing these. We know that in political years and in inflation years, right, people hold on to their monies a little bit more, and then it comes back again. And for services like mine that are not as 100% necessary, it will all bounce back again. But it's really developing the skills ahead of time to be able to have the mindset to be able to weather this. And also, if I'm having some bad days, to be able to have a network of people around me that I can reach out to and get those support on those days as well. So definitely an obstacle that I'm going through right now, and continuing to maintain that really positive, it's like, I know that our energy is everything, right? So I never want to get into that negative energy, because it's just going to start repelling people, right? But I also want to be a realist and not just be like this toxic positive person all the time too. So, it's remaining positive while also remaining a realist at the same time, and just knowing that every storm passes and the sun is going to come out brighter than ever again, and things will shift again, hopefully sooner than later.
November 6th, we're going to wake up and it's going to be a different world.
For sure then, but hopefully before then even.
Well, definitely before then. But, I think the thing too is when we're business owners, it's hard not to take it personally, right? Because a lot of times, but it's not personal.
It's not. When you reject someone, when I reject someone for something, it's not that I'm rejecting that person ever. It's like, okay, right. I don't have the money right now, or okay, maybe I don't need this exactly right this time, or, something else is going to actually work out better. But it's not a rejection of a person at all, right?
No.
But it feels like it. I'm not going to lie. It feels like it.
No, it totally does. But one of the things that I found was and this was from doing sales for like a million years, right? Yeah. In sales, you get 200 no's before you get a yes. So talk about being rejected and feeling like, oh my God. But it's, it took me years to be like, it's not me. And when I realized and really infused in myself that, it's not me, it's a financial thing. Yep. It makes it so much easier, because at that point, it really takes
the pressure off of it.
100%.
Takes the personalization off of it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not okay, I don't suck, they just don't have the money. Because what I've found is that when they do have the money, they come to me. And that happened
100%.
3 times in the last month, which I was just like, and I actually said to one of them, I was like, you like me, you really like me, the Sally Field thing. And they were just like, you're such a dork. But it's true. So, but I'm just saying, as a friend to you, don't internalize it, because it ain't you.
I know. And I definitely work on that all the time. And you're right. Like, people do come back, right? Like, they might do something different in the interim, but they always come back again, right? They always come back again. So another thing that I thought of when you were saying like the yeses and the nos, for people who are starting out on their entrepreneurial journey, obviously you're going to be listening to podcasts, reading things, all the things. The book, Go for No. I can't remember the author of it right now. But it's about, talk to people, try to get all those no's, right? Because eventually all those no's are going to start being yeses and yeses and yeses. So, right, the more no's you get, the actual more yeses you're going to get. And I cannot think of you're looking it up right now.
Andrea Waltz and Richard Fenton. Go for No, yes is the destination.
Yeah, that one. Yep, that's a really good one.
Andrea
so
Waltz
anyway, for entrepreneurs, that's it's an easy read, but it's a really good read to kind of get you going with things too.
Cool. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm going to ask this, and I know the answer, because that's why you're going to be taking my pictures. And
well, then you answer the question, because I know what question you're going to ask me too, and it's always hard to talk about ourselves.
What's your differentiator?
It is. It's always such a hard thing, right? Because like in this land where there are a million photographers, like, what is my differentiator? And I mean, I don't know. I guess that what I'm going to say might be different than what you're going to say too. So I would love to hear what you have to say in a second. But to me, like, I photograph a lot of women who don't like having their photos taken. And there's things about themselves, things about their bodies or whatever, or they haven't had photos done in 10, 20 years because they've gained weight and they don't, they're really nervous about it. And I guess my biggest thing is like, I have totally 100% been there, and I know what that feels like. And I know what it feels like to work with a photographer who sees you and helps you really see how darn beautiful that you are in your body just as you are. Like, I know how empowering that can feel and how just like literally life shifting it can be. And so for me, I guess that's what I feel is my big differentiator. But I know that it's more than that. I think that there's some personality maybe that's part of it as well. But what were you going to say, Iris? Like, why are you going to hire me?
I think so my self-image is 95% better than it ever was, right? It's like I'm at a point where, because of last year, I can look at myself and I don't go, If anything, I'll be like, oh, I can do better. I can do better than that.
But it's like neutrality or like getting to acceptance rather than like negativity and hate towards it, right? At least it's neutral. Yeah,
yes.
Good.
Yes. And so what I want to do is, because I've seen your work and I've seen what you've done, and now I don't wear makeup. I'm just going to throw that out there. Like, I never wear makeup. And so
that's you.
I remember I was working with somebody a couple of years ago, actually more than a couple of years ago. And she said, throw a little makeup on. And I went, but I don't wear makeup. Yeah. And she goes, yeah, but for the pictures, throw makeup on. I'm like, yeah, but then it's not me.
Yeah.
Then it's, like if I'm a musician. So if I'm going to be on stage and the lights are going to be super, super bright, I will put a teeny bit of lipstick on so you can see my lips because, they're disappearing because I'm getting older. And I'll, like a little bit of whatever. But that's it. Like, I just don't wear makeup. Yeah. And I ended up not working with her because I felt really annoyed. I was like, why aren't you fucking listening? I don't wear makeup. And if I wear makeup, then that's not going to be who they're working with, because I'm going to show up like this.
Yep. So that's who you are. And like, okay, truthfully, from the photographer's point of view, when we're not wearing makeup and we have photos taken, it even seems like we're wearing less than no makeup, because that's just the way that it translates on pictures. So to be wearing a little bit, it still looks like you're wearing none. So I can get that side of it too. But honestly, these are your pictures and this is you. And if you are completely not wanting to wear makeup, then don't wear makeup. And like, that's great, just as you are, because that's who you are, right? So that's what I'm all about too, is meeting people where they're at, and they don't have to be some mold that I think that they should be. They need to be who they are. And I think that that's what you see when you see my pictures too, is that everybody is just showing up as they are. I'm very good at also bringing out people's like real true personalities to where their pictures don't look fake. Their smiles don't look fake. They look like they're truly enjoying life and that you truly want to lean into them and work with them. Right. And so I am able to do that with people too, because of the relationship that we develop also. So I'm excited to bring that out in you too, and for you to see that. And you do not have to wear any makeup, and you can come as casual as you want to be, because if that is you, then that is you, and that's great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm preppy. I'm a preppy kid. It's just I've always been preppy. So I'll wear jeans, or at like dressed up for me is like khakis. So. So
you don't even have to go with khakis. Like if you want to wear jeans and just switch out some shirts, then we're good.
Dressed up for me is my bougie tux that I had to get for, oh my God, I was covering Equality Fashion Week for I have a TV show called Unique Voices. And they were like, oh, it's going to be red carpet. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to get a tux. So I go to like Bloomingdale's and I, get this tux and I show up and everybody's in like black leather and all this other stuff. And I was like, I'm still rocking this tux, but
I love it.
It was awesome. But
that sounds exciting. Do you still have it?
I do.
Have you done pictures in it?
I have a couple of pictures, but not professional.
Well, maybe we'll have to think about that too when we have that discussion. That sounds fun. Okay, I know, right? Like this is what we do. We think about these things a little bit more.
Interesting. Okay. Getting it to Denver though, unwrinkled is going to be
Well, that'll be a thing too. But I have a steamer that I can always bring that you can definitely use. So anyway, everything can be managed. Everything can be worked out.
Okay. And we are, I love that we just keep going on tangents. I can't wait till like we're in person because we're just going to be like, I can't wait. Is there anything that you want to like leave people with? Because we're an hour already, of course, because this goes so fast.
I know it really does go fast, doesn't it? I think it's the same veins of kind of what we've been talking about today, right? Like authenticity, just being truly who you are, like showing up how you are, like wearing no makeup, wearing casual clothes, wearing whatever, like even today, right? I've been wearing this Team USA shirt today and I was like, I'm getting on a podcast. I should put on like nicer clothes. I'm just wearing a t-shirt. And I was like, no, like this is how I'm feeling today. Like this is what's lighting me up right now. Like it's okay. This is me today. And so I just went with it and I just showed up, truly authentically as me, who I am today. So I think that's, that's my biggest thing to leave people with is like, literally, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I mean, I would say this for anyone, but especially if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about going on an entrepreneurial journey, like the more that you can just be real and be yourself from the start of everything, right? The more that you don't think that you have to look a certain way or be like somebody else, the more you can show who you truly are in your website, in your social media, when you show up in person, the better you're going to be. Because yes, there are going to be some people who are going to turn away from you, right? Like there are going to be some people who lean away from you, right? Like when you talk about politics, Iris, there's half the country that's going to lean away from you, right? And but it's okay because like those aren't your people, right? And that is okay, right?
Yeah.
So I put my body out on social media a lot, right? I have a big body, but I put it out on social media, and there are some people that lean away from that because they're offended by that. What's that?
But you look amazing.
Well, thank you. But like, there's so many people who are fat phobic and still, there's all sorts of things that are still happening in this world. Right. But if I put my body out there, there's people that lean away from me because they're offended by it or, I'm whatever the things are. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to stop doing that because the people who actually lean into me are the people who are my people and who are going to work with me the best and get the best transformation from the services that I am offering. Right. So the more that we can just show up as ourselves and just be ourselves in every situation, sometimes rejection is going to hurt a little bit, but the people who lean into you are going to feel so much better and so much more authentic and organic. So that is my biggest takeaway in everything. So I have a hashtag, real is the new perfect, right? So we go on the real side, don't have to worry about the perfectionism side of things, but just be authentic, be real. And that's really going to take you farther than anything.
Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And I love that you shut up. I mean, I'm in this and, hell, I'll be authentic. I haven't taken a damn shower yet today because my day blew up and I was like, oh my God, I have a podcast at 4 and I'm usually in a t-shirt or a polo shirt or something, but usually at least my hair's done and I've taken a shower.
Something I heard one time was that our bodies are the least interesting things about us, right? So even you and I were talking about it. You were asking how your hair was and all the things. And at first it was like, oh, well, but then it was like, you know what, who cares? Because, right, if people are going to judge you based on your hair or your t-shirt, or they're going to judge me, like that's unfortunate for them, honestly.
Right.
It has nothing to do with us.
The messages, right?
That has everything to do with the lens that they have come up in this world in. And so, right, listen to the words that we're saying and listen to what we're giving from our heart and our mind. Those are the things that are so much more important than what we look like on the outside.
100%. I adore you. Okay. How can people find you?
Gosh, so my name is Carrie Anne Munstedt. I'm the only Carrie Anne Munstedt in the entire world. So it's pretty easy to find me. I'm Carrie Anne Munstedt on all social media platforms. I'm not on X, but I'm on everything else. So it's either Carrie Anne Munstedt or Carrie Anne Munstedt Portrait everywhere. But you just put in Carrie Anne Munstedt and you'll find me anywhere.
And that's Carrie Anne with a K and Munstedt, Munstedt.
Yes, I assume you'll put it in the show notes somewhere too. My name will be
It'll
there.
in the show notes,
Absolutely.
But,
So I know it's not an easy thing to.
Because
It's not an easy thing to spell.
Yeah, because people listen and drive, or like
exactly.
My one friend Michelle who hikes in the snow or in wherever she hikes, and my other friend Michelle who listens when she's walking. So I have a lot of Michelles. Okay, well, we're here. I can't believe we're here already, but. Last question I ask all my guests. First off, thank you so much for taking time out of your day today, because this has just been beyond a pleasure. Like I can't wait to squeeze you in a couple of months.
I know.
Like 2 months, which is crazy. What lights your fire?
Well, I can't remember if we already talked about this at the beginning of the show or if you and I just talked about it pre-show. So I'm going to say it again. But, the Olympics has been really lighting my fire. And that was one of the big reasons why I still, why I wore this shirt today. All bodies are different, right? And what we're seeing so beautifully in the Olympics right now is that we're seeing all sorts of bodies, like really small, compact bodies like the gymnasts, but really tall, broad-shouldered bodies like those playing rugby or wrestling and all these different things. And women's bodies honestly being celebrated for what they are, rather than them needing to conform into something that they don't need to be, right? Like, all bodies are beautiful, no matter how big or small or wide or trim or whatever color or whatever ability they are, right? And I'm just seeing so many memes and so many like TikToks and reels out there of like people celebrating women's bodies, the women of the Olympics bodies. Yeah. And, the more that we can see all these body types being celebrated, like, on this grander scale of television and the Olympics, the more we'll look around in our own, in our own communities, in our own homes, and see that, wow, my body is not that much different than those other bodies that are being celebrated. Yeah. So why am I being so hard on my own body, right? So that is what's really lighting me up right now, is just seeing the beautiful support of all bodies. And it's so true. Like, the bodies are the least important thing about those women, right? Like the things that they are physically doing with those bodies are so amazing. It doesn't matter what they look like, but what they're doing with those bodies is so incredible. And that is just definitely what's lighting a fire under me right now.
Wow, I love it. And I just love, you could tell because you get all, and now you're going to get me all fired up again.
Leading in and getting into it.
I know. Okay, hang on. I'll be right back to you. I am going to say goodbye to the audience. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging in for an hour plus again. I don't know how you do it. We must be entertaining. Really appreciate each and every one of you taking the time out of your day to listen, watch, whatever it is that you're doing. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and review. Please leave reviews, because the more reviews you leave, the more, higher up in the ranks we get. And that's what we're really trying to push at now. So any help would be greatly appreciated. I want to thank you all. It's past the Olympics now, way past the Olympics, I know. So I hope you had a good time watching the Olympics, and I hope that you are in alignment with us as far as body type. And so thank you so much for watching. And until next time, go out and find what lights your fire. See you, everyone.